Hello, dreamer, and welcome to 0 Hour Scary Stories for Sleep. This is a quiet place where whispered tales and soft echoes meet, designed to help you drift into peaceful sleep with just a touch of mystery lingering in the dark. Before we begin tonight's story, I'd love to know, where in the world are you listening from? Leave a comment below and let me know. And if these nightly journeys have found their way into your routine, remember to like, subscribe, and gently tap the bell so you never miss a night that shouldn't come. Now close your eyes, get comfortable, let the rain settle your thoughts, and let's drift into the unknown together.
If you're listening alone, don't look at any dolls in your room yet. 2 seconds of silence. Annabella never liked being watched. Another short pause. There was nothing special about her at first. Just a cloth doll, red yarn hair, painted smile, stitched, hands that never quite pointed the same way twice. She sat on a shelf in a small apartment. Always in the same position. Always facing the door. Until the day she was in single quotas. No one saw her move. No one heard fabric shifting. No creak of the shelf. But when Donna came home from class that afternoon, Annabella was turned, just slightly, her stitched eyes now facing the couch. Donna laughed at first, a nervous breath, a small joke to herself. She turned the doll back, placed her neatly. Left the room. When she returned later that night, Annabella was sitting on the couch, not fallen. Not slipped. Sitting. Legs forward, hands resting, facing the television. Donna didn't scream. She didn't run. She just stood there, trying to decide if her memory had failed her. People trust their memories more than they should. That night, Donna placed Annabella inside a closet. Door closed. Light off. In the morning, the closet door was open. Annabella sat on the floor outside, still smiling, still clean. No dust. No sign she had dragged or fallen. From that day forward, notes began appearing. Small pieces of parchment paper, words written in a child's uneven hand. Help us, help Lou. Donna had no parchment paper in her home. No markers. No reason to write messages to herself. She tried throwing the doll away once. She walked 3 blocks to a trash container. Dropped Annabella inside. Walked home. When she opened her apartment door, the doll was sitting on her bed, centered on the pillow. Waiting. Donna stopped touching Annabella after that. But Annabella didn't need to be touched. Because sometimes, in the quiet hours of the night, when the apartment settled, there came a sound. Soft. Dry. Like cloth rubbing against cloth. A shift. A presence. And the feeling that something in the room was paying attention to the listen right now. Puzz. If there is a doll in your room, don't look at it yet. Not until the story tells you to. Because Annabella's story didn't begin with danger. It began with watching. And watching always comes before action. Silence. The apartment was ordinary in the way ordinary things are easiest to forget. A second floor unit above a quiet street. 2 small windows that never quite stopped rattling when trucks passed. A kitchen light that buzzed faintly if you listened for it long enough. A couch with a shallow dip in the middle, where 2 people had learned the shape of each other's evenings. Donna was studying nursing then. Long days, short sleep, textbooks open on the coffee table, highlighters left uncapped, a half-finished cup of tea that cooled beside her notes. Her friend Angie had given her the doll as a gift. Handmade, soft. The kind of present someone gives when they think you need comfort more than you need something useful. It came in a plain bag with tissue paper folded neatly at the top. As if careful hands had tried to make it feel like a small celebration. Donna remembered the weight of it when she first held it. Light, but not flimsy, stuffed evenly. Fabric smooth where it should be smooth, textured where it should be textured. A doll made by someone who paid attention. Asterisk. The face was simple. Too simple, maybe, which is why it lingered in the mind. Round cheeks, tinted just enough to look warm. A smile stitched in a curve that didn't change no matter what the room felt like. Eyes that were painted wide. Black pupils with tiny white points meant to look like reflection. Up close, Donna could see the brush marks in the paint, a little uneven around one edge. A detail you only notice when you're tired and staring too long. The yarn hair was red, braided in loose strands. Some pieces were longer than others, as if the maker had adjusted it at the last moment, deciding the doll should look slightly messy, more real. And the hands, Her hands were the kind you stop thinking about until you see them again later. Cloth palms, stitched fingers, the thread pulled tight enough to define shape, loose enough to feel soft. The fingertips were faintly darker, as if the fabric had been touched more there during the making. Donna set the doll on a shelf in the living room the first night, not because she loved dolls, because it seemed polite to give a handmade gift a place where it could be seen. The shelf held harmless things, a framed photo from a picnic, a small plant in a chipped pot, a stack of old magazines she meant to recycle. Annabella sat among them as if she belonged. Donna's boyfriend noticed the doll right away. He didn't dislike it. He didn't like it either. He just stared at it a beat too long and said, quietly, like it was a half-joke he didn't want to fully own, "Why does it look like it knows we're here?" Donna laughed. A soft laugh, the kind people do when they're trying to smooth over a thought. "It's a doll," she said. Lou shrugged, then looked away. And the moment passed. Life continued. Morning alarms, shoes by the door, papers piled and rearranged, laundry that never seemed to end. The doll stayed on the shelf for days without incident. That's important, because later when people ask why Donna didn't leave immediately, why she didn't call someone right away, this is the part that gets forgotten. Nothing announced itself at first. No dramatic warning. No clear line between normal and wrong. There was only a small apartment, a young couple, a student learning how to keep people alive, a handmade doll placed carefully on a shelf, and a feeling, barely a feeling so faint you could mistake it for fatigue, the feeling that the room had changed when you weren't looking. Donna didn't say anything about it at first. She told herself it was stress, clinical rotations, exams, the new habit of coming home exhausted and forgetting where she'd left her keys. But still, she noticed small things. The plant's leaves turned toward the window like always. The photo didn't move. The magazine stayed stacked. And yet, some evenings, when she walked in and shut the door, she had the thought, "I don't remember leaving the doll like that." Not panic. Just the thought. Just a little snag in the mind. Annabella's face was angled slightly differently, her smile catching the light in a new way. Her eyes painted and lifeless, reflecting a tiny point of brightness that shouldn't have been there. Donna would step closer, adjust the doll, and move on. Because that's what you do when you're trying to keep your world orderly. You correct small errors. You straighten pictures. You close cabinet doors. You push back chairs. You do not immediately accept the possibility that something in your home is choosing positions on purpose. And that's what made the next moment so clean, so sharp, so easy to remember. It was a day like any other. Donna came home late afternoon, bags on her arms, mind still half in class. She looked up at the shelf, and Annabella was turned, just slightly, facing the couch. Donna stood there for a second, lips parted, as if she'd almost speak to the doll. Then, she did what tired people do. She blamed herself. She walked over, rotated Annabella back toward the room, and went to the kitchen. But before she started the kettle, she glanced over her shoulder again. Not because she was frightened, because she wanted to confirm the room was steady. Annabella sat still. Of course she did. The kettle hissed. The light buzzed. The street outside sighed with passing tires. Later, when Lou came in, Donna mentioned it casually. "Did you move the doll?" Lou didn't even look up at first. "No." Donna nodded like that settled it. Because it should have. Yet Lou's eyes lifted toward the shelf. "Anyway," and his gaze held there a second too long. Donna saw him swallow once. "Maybe your friend's messing with you," he said. "She doesn't have a key." "Then maybe you moved it," Lou said, still trying to keep it normal. Donna wanted to agree. So she did. And for a few hours, they lived inside that agreement. Dinner, a quiet show on TV, the sound of forks against plates, Lou's hand resting on Donna's shoulder, warm and reassuring. Annabella stayed on the shelf until Donna left the room. She went to the bathroom to wash her face, and when she came back, she stopped in the doorway. Annabella was on the couch, not fallen, not leaning, not tangled in a blanket. Sitting. Legs forward, hands resting in her lap, facing the television like a third person who had been there the whole time. Lou was frozen with the remote halfway lifted. Donna didn't scream. She didn't move at first either. They simply looked at the doll together. And, in that strange pause, the apartment felt different. Not louder, not colder. Just attentive. Like a room that had been empty for a long time and was suddenly aware of company. Lou cleared his throat once, like he could break the moment with sound. How did it? He didn't finish. Donna walked forward slowly and picked Annabella up. The doll felt the same as before, soft cloth, stuffing, thread. But Donna noticed something she hadn't noticed the first day, a faint mark along one seam, a slight tightening. As if the stitching had been pulled recently, she held the doll a little farther away from her body. Okay, she said, very quietly, that's enough. She placed Annabella back on the shelf, not gently this time, just firmly. And then she looked around the room, as if she might see the answer hiding somewhere. Door locked. Windows latched. No sign of anyone. Lou walked over and checked the front door anyway, pulling on it once, twice. Still locked, he said. Donna didn't reply. She sat back down on the couch and tried to watch the TV again. The show continued. The laughter track played. A bright scene filled the screen, but the sound felt distant now, like it was coming from another apartment. Donna's eyes kept drifting to the shelf. Annabella sat where she'd been placed, facing forward, smiling. And then, because the mind hates unfinished things, Donna's thoughts began to circle a single question that had no comfortable answer. If she moved from the shelf to the couch, what else could she do? A few minutes later, Lou muttered, almost to himself, we should put it somewhere else. Donna nodded without looking away from the shelf. And that's when you need to understand something else. They weren't chasing a ghost story. They weren't looking for trouble. They weren't trying to turn their home into a legend. They were simply two tired people trying to return their apartment to the quiet shape it had always had. But that night, while they were still deciding what to do, something else began. It didn't come with a voice. It didn't come with a bang. It began the way these things sometimes begin. With paper. With a message that shouldn't exist. And a name written as if by a child that Donna didn't remember anyone in their lives using. A name that would soon be repeated. Not shouted. Not announced. Just left behind. As if it had always been there. Pause. Soft room tone. Before I tell you what the first note said, make sure your eyes are still on whatever you were looking at. Don't check the corners of your room. Not yet. Because the first time Donna saw the message, she made the mistake of looking up immediately. And she never forgot what she saw after. She did. Silence. 3 seconds. If you're still here, listening, tell me one thing in the comments. Do you have anything in your room right now? A doll, a figurine, a toy, a mannequin, a stuffed animal that suddenly feels easier to notice than it did 5 minutes ago, now. Listen. This is what happened next. Donna didn't sleep much that night. Not because she was afraid. Because her mind kept replaying the image of the doll on the couch, sitting like a quiet third presence between her and Lou. When morning came, sunlight poured through the thin curtains. Ordinary light, warm, gentle, the kind of light that makes you feel foolish for worrying. Annabella was still on the shelf, facing forward, exactly where Donna had placed her. The room looked normal again, and that's how the first disturbance settled in, not with chaos, but with reassurance. Lou kissed Donna's forehead before leaving for work. She left for class soon after. They locked the door behind them. Both of them remembered that part. The lock clicking into place. The small tug on the handle to confirm it was secure. No one else had a key. No pets, no roommates, no open windows. Just a sealed apartment in a quiet building. When Donna returned that afternoon, her first thought was not about the doll. She dropped her bag, kicked off her shoes, called out for Lou even though she knew he wasn't home yet. Silence answered. She walked into the living room. And froze. Annabella was gone from the shelf, not fallen, not hidden behind a magazine. Gone. Donna searched the room slowly. Behind the couch, under the coffee table, near the TV stand. Nothing. A tiny irritation rose first, then confusion, because she knew she hadn't moved it. And yet there it was, on their bed. Centered. Sitting upright, facing the doorway. Waiting. Donna stood in the bedroom entrance for a long moment, staring at the doll. The bedspread was smooth, no creases, no sign of a soft body being dragged or tossed onto it. Annabella sat perfectly balanced. Donna reached forward and touched the doll's shoulder. Cool fabric, no warmth, no vibration, just cloth. She picked it up and carried it back to the living room. This time she didn't place it carefully. She set it on the floor, leaned against the wall, as if she wanted it out of sight but still within reach. When Lou came home, Donna told him immediately. He smiled in that tired way people do when they're trying to keep peace. Maybe you forgot moving it. Donna didn't argue. She simply watched his face as he said it. He didn't quite believe himself either. That evening, they ate dinner on the couch. The television murmured. The apartment felt normal again, but when they went to bed later, Lou stopped in the doorway. "Why is the bedroom door open?" he asked. Donna turned. She remembered closing it. She always closed it, but the door was open, just slightly, a narrow black line of darkness inside. They stared at it for a moment. Then Lou walked forward and shut it. The latch clicked. They slept, or tried to, sometime after midnight. Donna woke up. She didn't know why at first. Then she heard it. A soft sound, not footsteps, not voices, a gentle brushing noise, like fabric sliding across fabric. She sat up in bed. The bedroom door was open again. Just slightly. The same narrow black line. Lou was asleep beside her, breathing slow and steady. Donna stared at the door for a long time. Nothing moved, nothing appeared. The apartment simply felt colder. Not dramatically, just enough that she pulled the blanket closer. In the morning, Annabella was back on the shelf, facing forward. As if she had never left. As if the previous day had never happened. This is the part where most stories would turn sharp, where screaming begins, where running starts, but real disturbances don't work that way. They settle slowly into daily life, one small thing at a time. The next day, the doll appeared sitting in a kitchen chair. Another day, on the bathroom floor. Another day, in the closet. Always upright, always balanced, always placed. Donna began moving Annabella back to the shelf without speaking. No arguments, no ceremonies. Just pick up, return, look away. Lou tried humor. "Maybe it's getting exercise," he said once. They both laughed, a short laugh, a necessary laugh, because the alternative was to ask the question neither of them wanted to shape into words. If no one touched the doll, who moved it? The apartment felt different now, not dangerous, not violent. Just aware. The air felt heavier in certain corners. The temperature dipped in the hallway. The bedroom felt colder than the rest of the apartment, no matter how high the heat was set. Donna began leaving lights on. Lou began checking locks twice. They told themselves it was stress, work, fatigue, overactive imagination, and that explanation almost worked, until the first note appeared. Not dramatic, not glowing, not written in blood. Just a small piece of parchment paper lying on the living room floor. Donna didn't recognize the paper. She didn't own parchment. She bent down and picked it up. There were words written in a child's uneven handwriting. Simple, clear, help us. She read it once. Twice. Then she checked the apartment again. Door locked, windows shut, no one inside. Lou tried to reason it out. Maybe it came from outside, he said. But they both knew it hadn't, because the next morning, another note was waiting, on the kitchen counter. Help Lou. Donna's hand shook just enough to notice, not violently, not visibly, just enough that she set the note down slowly. Carefully. As if quick movements might change something. Lou stared at the words for a long time. Then he laughed again. But this time, the laugh didn't reach his eyes. "That's not funny," he said. Donna swallowed. "I didn't write it." Silence settled between them. The apartment seemed to lean closer. Listening. The doll sat on the shelf, still, smiling. As if it had nothing to do with any of this. And yet, every night, when the lights went out, Donna felt certain of one thing. They were no longer alone in their home. Not with a person, not with the body, but with something patient. Something quiet, something that had waited a very long time to be noticed. And now that it had their attention, it had no reason to stop. After the second note, Donna bought a notebook, not to journal, not to record feelings. To track facts. Date, time, where the doll was found, where the notes appeared, what they said. Because when something makes no sense, the mind tries to organize it, to put it into columns, to prove it's real. Monday. Note on counter. Help Lou. * Tuesday. Note on bedroom floor. Help us. Wednesday. No note. But the bedroom door opened by itself at 2:14 a.m. Donna checked the clock. Thursday. A note in the kitchen sink. Paper damp at the edges, ink and blurred. Help me. Each note written in the same uneven hand, childlike, rounded letters, and even spacing, like someone learning to write. Donna compared it to Angie's handwriting, not even close, compared it to her own, no match, compared it to Lou's, not even remotely similar. They showed the notes to no one else, not yet, because explaining it out loud made it feel too real. The doll stayed on the shelf now. Neither of them wanted to touch it anymore. Not because it attacked. Not because it moved in front of them. Because every time Donna looked at Annabella's stitched smile, she felt a quiet certainty. If I pick it up again, I'm agreeing to something I don't understand. So she stopped. Lou started sleeping with the TV on, volume low, just enough sound to keep silence away. But silence always returns. One night, round midnight, Donna woke to a new sound, a door slamming. Not loud, not violent. Just the bathroom door closing with a firm, deliberate click. She sat up. Lou stirred beside her. What? He mumbled. The bathroom, she whispered. Lou got up, rubbed his eyes, and walked down the hallway. Donna followed. The bathroom door was shut. Lou opened it. Empty. Light off. Nothing on the floor, no open windows, no draft. They stood there for a moment. Then Lou shut the door again. When they returned to bed, the bedroom door was open. Just slightly. Asterisk that same narrow black line. Donna closed it. They slept. Or tried to. 2 nights later, Lou saw something. He didn't tell Donna immediately. He kept it to himself for a full day, trying to find another explanation. But on the third night, he finally spoke. They were in the kitchen, late, lights low, a single bulb over the sink. I saw someone in the hallway, Lou said. Donna didn't look up at first. Asterisk someone, a shadow, he corrected. Just a shape. Donna slowly set her cup down. Where? By the bedroom door. Last night. I thought it was you. Donna's voice was quiet. I was asleep. Lou nodded. He didn't look scared. He looked confused. Then it moved, he said. Just stepped back. Into the wall. Donna felt cold in a way that had nothing to do with temperature. They checked the apartment again that night. Every room, every closet, every window, locked, latched, sealed. No one inside. Annabella sat on the shelf. Smiling. The notes continued. 1 on the couch cushion. Help me. 1 inside Donna's notebook. Help us. Donna began placing the notes inside a drawer. She didn't want them lying around anymore. But every time she opened the drawer, she felt as if she were opening a mouth, receiving something, accepting something. The apartment's temperature dropped another degree. Not dramatically. Not enough for the heater to notice. Just enough that Donna always wanted a sweater. Just enough that Lou began rubbing his hands together at night. Just enough that the air felt like it was waiting. And always Annabella, still, upright, facing the room. As if she were listening to everything. One evening, Donna sat on the couch and stared at the doll for a long time. Not afraid, not angry, trying to understand. Why would something pretend to be a child? She whispered aloud. Lou looked at her. What? The notes, Donna said. The handwriting. It's young, small, like a kid. Lou exhaled slowly. Maybe. It is, he said. Donna shook her head. No children live here. No children visit. No children have a key. Lou didn't respond. Because the question had already formed in both of their minds. If something is asking for help, why does it never show itself? If something wants attention, why hide behind a doll? If something wants to be believed, why speak only through notes and shadows? Donna's nursing classes taught her to observe, to notice symptoms, to look for patterns. She began doing the same at home. The doll moved only when they were gone or asleep. The notes appeared in places they passed through daily. The hallway shadow always stayed at the edge of vision, never direct, never clear. Whatever it wasn't random. It was patient. It was careful. It was learning how to be noticed without being seen. And Annabella was always at the center. Not active, not aggressive, just present, like a doorway left open in a house you thought was locked. One night, Donna woke suddenly. No sound had woken her. No dream, just a sharp awareness. She turned her head toward the bedroom door. It was open, wider this time, not a narrow line, a full gap. Dark hallway beyond. And in the hallway, shape. Not detailed, not solid. Just a silhouette. Child height. Still. Facing her. Donna didn't scream. She couldn't. Her body felt heavy, her breath slow, her voice lost somewhere between thought and action. The shape didn't move. It didn't approach. It didn't retreat. It simply stood there. Watching. Donna closed her eyes. Not to sleep. To pretend it wasn't there. When she opened them again, the hallway was empty. The door was closed. Lou was still asleep. In the morning, Annabella was on the shelf. Smiling. Donna didn't tell Lou about the figure. Not yet. Because saying it out loud would mean admitting something had crossed a line. A line between strange and impossible. between coincidence and intention, but that morning, another note waited on the kitchen table written in the same childish hand. Don't leave. Donna stared at it for a long time, then folded it once twice and placed it in the drawer with the others. The apartment felt colder, the doll felt closer, and whatever was behind the notes had stopped asking for help. Now it was giving instructions. Soft silence. If you're listening right now, check one thing. Not quickly. Not suddenly. Just notice. Is the door of the room you're in fully closed or slightly open? Don't get up. Don't fix it. Just notice it. Because from here on, Donna and Lou would start doing something humans only do. When they feel outmatched, they would seek outside help. And the moment you invite someone else into a situation like this, everything changes. This is where the story turns. Donna chose the neighbor because it felt less dramatic than calling a stranger. Mrs. Klein lived 2 doors down, older, soft-voiced. The kind of woman who smelled faintly of lavender soap and old books. She had once mentioned casually, over a hallway conversation, that she was sensitive to spiritual things. At the time, Donna had smiled politely. Now, she stood in Mrs. Klein's doorway, holding a small stack of parchment notes in her hand. Mrs. Klein didn't look surprised when Donna showed them. She touched the top note lightly with 2 fingers, as if touching something living. These didn't come from a person, Mrs. Klein said quietly. Lou crossed his arms. You can't know that. Mrs. Klein looked at him kindly. I know handwriting, she said. And I know intention. These were written by something trying very hard to look small. Donna felt a slow chill. Small, childlike, Mrs. Klein said. Not a child. They agreed to let her come over that evening, not because they fully believed her, but because neither Donna nor Lou had slept properly in weeks. Because the notes had shifted from help to don't leave. Because the hallway figure had been seen by both of them now, though they never said it aloud. At 8 that night, Mrs. Klein sat at their kitchen table. The overhead light buzzed. The apartment smelled of tea and dust and something faintly metallic. Annabella sat on the living room shelf. Mrs. Klein didn't look at the doll at first. She placed a small candle at the center of the table, lit it, watched the flame steady. Nothing dramatic, she said. No calling out, no demands. We only listen. Donna sat on one side of the table, Lou on the other, their hands resting on the wood. Mrs. Klein closed her eyes. Room tone, silence, breath. Minutes passed. Then Mrs. Klein spoke softly. There is a presence here. Lou exhaled sharply through his nose. Mrs. Klein raised one finger, not to silence him, to ask for patience. I will ask a question, she said. If there is something here, you may answer through me. Donna swallowed. Mrs. Klein's voice changed very slightly, not a different voice, just a softer cadence, a smaller rhythm. Hello, the voice said. Donna's heart began to beat faster. Not violently, just noticeably. What is your name? Mrs. Klein asked. The small voice answered, Annabella. Donna's eyes flicked toward the living room shelf, toward the doll. Mrs. Klein's normal voice returned for a moment. Full name, she asked. The smaller voice came again, Annabella Higgins. The candle flame leaned to one side though there was no breeze. Donna whispered, There's no one named that here. Mrs. Klein nodded, still with eyes closed. How old are you? She asked. 7. The small voice said. Lou shifted in his chair. What do you want? Donna asked before she could stop herself. Mrs. Klein's lips moved slowly. I was lonely, the small voice said. I like your home. I don't want to leave. The candle flame steadied again. Mrs. Klein's normal voice returned. This presence believes it is a child, she said, or wishes to appear as one. Donna asked the question that had been pressing against her ribs for days. Are you the one moving the doll? The small voice returned. Yes. Are you the one writing the notes? Yes. Why? Lou asked. A pause. Then, so you would talk to me. Silence. A long silence. Mrs. Klein opened her eyes. This presence is not violent, she said. It has attached itself to the doll as an anchor. It wants to stay. Donna stared at the candle flame. Can it harm us? Mrs. Klein didn't answer immediately. Then, not yet, she said. Lou swallowed. What do we do? Mrs. Klein folded her hands. There is a rule, she said. Even wandering spirits must follow consent. It is asking to stay. If you allow it, it will remain peacefully. If you refuse, it may grow unsettled. Donna felt her voice move without her permission. What happens if we say yes? Mrs. Klein looked toward the shelf now, toward Annabella. It will stop seeking attention, she said. It will feel acknowledged. Lou leaned forward. And if we say no? Mrs. Klein hesitated. It will continue, she said. More insistently. Donna and Lou looked at each other, two exhausted people, two minds trying to choose between strange and unbearable. Mrs. Klein spoke again. You may answer aloud, she said. One word. Lou said it first. Yes. Donna's breath caught. She didn't want to disagree with Lou in front of Mrs. Klein. Didn't want to feel like the unreasonable one. Didn't want another night of doors opening and shadows standing in hallways. So she whispered, yes. The candle flame flickered once, then steadied. Mrs. Klein exhaled. It is done, she said. The presence is satisfied. They sat there. For a while after she left. No one spoke. The apartment felt quiet. Not tense. Not cold. Just settled. Annabella sat on the shelf. Smiling. Asterisk that night. No doors opened. No notes appeared. No shadows stood in the hallway. Donna slept for the first time in weeks without waking. Lou didn't check the locks twice. The apartment seemed normal again, but there was a new thought now. Not frightening. Just fixed. They had agreed to something. They didn't know what they had agreed to, but they had said yes. And whatever had been asking had stopped asking. Soft silence. They said yes. And from that moment forward, the doll never moved again. But something else began. Something quieter. Something deeper. Something that no longer needed notes. Because now it had permission. For 3 days after the seance, nothing happened. No moving doll. No notes. No hallway figure. No doors opening on their own. The apartment felt calm again. Donna cleaned the kitchen. Lou watched television. They talked about ordinary things. Bills. Groceries. Work schedules. And always, Annabella sat on the shelf. Still, silent, smiling. The quiet felt like relief. But relief can be misleading. Because when danger changes shape, it doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it simply switches methods. The first accident happened on a Thursday morning. Lou was shaving. Donna heard him curse sharply from the bathroom. She rushed in. Blood ran down his chin in thin lines. Not deep, not serious, but strange. Your razor slipped, Donna said automatically. Lou shook his head. It was on the sink, he said. I hadn't picked it up yet. The razor lay in the basin. Dry. Lou touched his chin again. 3 thin scratches, parallel, evenly spaced. Like fingers. Donna cleaned the cuts, applied a small bandage. Neither of them spoke about it again. That night, Donna noticed something new in the hallway. On the wall beside the bedroom door. Long marks, light at first, as if someone had dragged something sharp across paint without pressing hard. By morning, they were darker. 4 lines. Vertical. Too high for a child, too deep for a pet. Lou tried washing them off. They didn't fade. He bought paint and covered the marks. The next day, the same lines were back. In the same place, cut through the new paint. Donna stared at them for a long time. Then she looked at Annabella. The doll hadn't moved, but somehow, the smile looked wider. Not different, just more noticed. The second accident came at night. Lou woke up shouting. Donna sat upright, heart racing. Lou was gripping his chest, breathing hard. I had a dream, he said. Something was on me, holding me down. Donna touched his shirt. It was damp. Sweat. But beneath the fabric, on his skin, were more scratches. 3 this time, shorter, angrier. Donna wanted to leave that night, pack bags, walk out, sleep anywhere else. But Lou sat on the edge of the bed and shook his head. We said yes, he murmured. Maybe it's just adjusting. Adjusting. As if they had adopted something. As if this were normal. Donna said nothing. She just looked at the bedroom door. It was closed. Fully. Not slightly open. The next morning, Donna noticed something on the doll. At first, she thought it was shadow, but when she stepped closer, she saw it. Small dark spots on Annabella's cloth hands. Deep red brown. Like old drops of blood. Donna did not touch the doll. She did not clean it. She simply stood there, feeling the air grow cold around her. When Lou saw it, he swore softly under his breath. Neither of them needed to ask where the blood came from. The notebook came out again. Donna wrote, blood on doll's hands. Under it, she wrote one question. If it was a child, why did it hurt us? They did not call Mrs. Klein back. Not yet. Because something inside Donna finally understood. The voice from the seance had never been a child. It had only worn a child's Shape. It had only borrowed a child's handwriting. It had only spoken with a child's softness. Because children are trusted. Children are harmless. Children are welcomed. And whatever this was, had wanted permission. Now it had it. And now it no longer needed to pretend. That night, the bedroom door opened again. Not slowly. Not gently. It burst open with force. Donna and Lou both sat upright. The hallway beyond was dark. Empty. But the air felt heavy, pressing, watching. Annabella sat on the shelf in the living room. Blood still on her hands, smiling. Soft silence. If you're still listening, stay exactly where you are. Don't shift too quickly. Don't change your posture. Because from this point forward, Donna and Lou were no longer dealing with a presence. They were dealing with something that could touch, and the next time it reached out, it would not stop at scratches. Donna didn't wait for another accident. The morning after the bedroom door burst open, she left the apartment early. She didn't tell Lou where she was going. She just took her coat, her keys, and the notebook filled with dates, notes, and observations. She walked 3 blocks to a small brick church wedged between a laundromat and a bakery. A simple wooden door, a brass handle worn smooth by decades of hands. Inside, the air smelled of candle wax and old paper. Father Perez listened without interrupting. He was not dramatic, not suspicious, not eager. Just calm. The kind of calm that comes from hearing too many things people are afraid to say aloud. Donna placed the notebook on his desk, opened it, showed him the handwriting samples, the timeline, the note that said, "Don't leave." Father Perez did not touch the notebook at first. He read quietly, slowly. Then he asked one question. "Where is the object?" Donna hesitated. "The doll," she said. "At our apartment." Father Perez nodded once. "Do not bring it here," he said. Donna didn't ask why. She understood the tone. That evening, Father Perez came to the apartment. Lou looked relieved to see him, not because he believed in priests, but because he wanted someone else to stand in the room and say, "This is real." Father Perez did not greet the doll. He did not approach it. He simply stood in the living room doorway for a long moment, eyes half lowered. "Breathing steady, the air is occupied," he said quietly. Lou glanced at Donna. Donna said nothing. They sat at the kitchen table, lights on, candle unlit this time. Father Perez asked questions. When did it start? What did the notes say? What happened during the seance? Donna answered everything. Lou added details he had never shared before. The dream where something pressed on his chest, the hallway figure, the feeling of being watched when alone. Father Perez listened. Then he folded his hands. "The spirit that spoke through your neighbor," he said, "was never a child." Donna's stomach tightened. It used a child's voice because children invite trust. Father Perez continued. "They invite sympathy. They invite permission." Lou leaned forward. "So what is it?" Father Perez did not answer directly. "It is something that needed an anchor," he said. "A focus. A doorway." Donna whispered. "The doll." Father Perez nodded. "The doll is not the thing," he said. "The doll is where the thing holds on." Silence settled. Annabella sat on the shelf, still smiling. Father Perez did not bless the apartment that night. He said it was too soon. "First, we observe," he said. "If we act without understanding, we may strengthen it instead of removing it." Donna wanted to scream at him, to tell him they didn't have time to observe, to tell him it was already touching them. But she stayed quiet, because Father Perez was the first person who didn't doubt them, the first person who didn't laugh, the first person who didn't call it imagination. Before leaving, he said one last thing. "Do not speak to it," he said. "Do not answer it. Do not acknowledge it." Attention is a form of invitation. That night, they tried. They ignored the doll, ignored the hallway, ignored the sounds. But ignoring does not make something leave. It only teaches it new ways to be noticed. Just after midnight, the living room light turned off, not a bulb glowing, not a flicker, a click, like a switch being pressed. Lou got up to check. The switch was still in the on position. He flipped it down, then up. The light returned. Asterisk behind him. The bedroom door opened. Slowly. Without sound. Donna watched from the bed. The hallway was dark. And in the darkness, the silhouette stood again. Not child-sized anymore. Taller. Broader. Wrong in shape, but still without detail. Just absence given outline. Donna closed her eyes. Not in fear. In refusal. When she opened them again, the hallway was empty. The door was shut. The light in the living room was off again. In the morning, Father Perez returned. He stood closer to the doll this time, not touching. Just near. Annabella's hands were still stained. Father Perez murmured words under his breath. Old words, soft words, not loud enough to hear. Then he stepped away. This presence is attached, he said. It will not leave easily. Lou asked the question both of them had been carrying. Can it be removed? Father Perez nodded. Double quotes yes, he said. But not here. Donna's throat tightened. Where? A place prepared, Father Perez said. A room made for separation. A container that can hold what should not wander. Lou glanced at the doll. You mean, lock it away? Father Perez did not correct him. He only said, this is not finished. And that was the worst part. No promise of immediate rescue. No dramatic exorcism. No loud confrontation. Just the knowledge that something had been invited. Something had attached. Something had already learned how to reach out. And now, removing it would take time. That night, Donna dreamed of the doll. Not attacking. Not moving. Just sitting on the shelf. And behind it, barely visible in the shadows, a shape leaning forward. Close to close. As if whispering into the doll's stitched ear. When Donna woke, the apartment was cold. Not just in temperature. In presence. And, on the kitchen counter, a new note waited. Written in the same childlike hand. But the words were different now. Not pleading. Not asking. Not requesting. Stating. Double quotes. I am here. Soft silence. If you're listening, stay with the story. Because from here, the doll would leave the apartment. But the presence would not. Not yet. Father Perez chose the day carefully. He said timing mattered. Not because clocks controlled spirits, but because people needed to be ready to endure what came after. Donna and Lou didn't feel ready. But exhaustion has a way of replacing readiness. They simply wanted the apartment back, their sleep, their silence, their ordinary life. Father Perez arrived just before dusk. He carried a small leather bag. Inside, a vial of holy water, a worn book, a plain wooden cross, a white cloth. Nothing ornate, nothing theatrical. Simple tools for difficult things. Annabella sat on the shelf, still smiling, hands stained, eyes reflecting the last of daylight. Father Perez stood before the doll. This is not a performance, he said quietly. Do not speak. Do not interrupt. Do not plead. Just stay behind me. Donna and Lou stood in the kitchen doorway. The air felt thicker as Father Perez began to pray, not loudly, not forcefully. Steady words, measured breaths, a rhythm like slow footsteps on stone. He sprinkled holy water in a circle around the doll. One drop splashed onto Annabella's dress. It soaked into the fabric, left a darker spot. Nothing else happened. No scream, no movement, no flicker of lights. Just quiet. Father Perez lifted the doll gently, carefully, as if handling something fragile rather than dangerous. He wrapped Annabella in the white cloth, tied it closed. Then he looked at Lou. You will take this outside, he said. You will place it in a container. You will close the lid. You will not look back. Lou nodded. Donna wanted to protest, to say she should be the one, to say neither of them should, but she stayed still. They walked together to the building's trash container behind the parking lot. The sky had dimmed to blue-gray. Streetlights flickered on. Lou dropped the bundle inside the container. It landed. With a dull, soft sound, he closed the lid. They walked back without speaking. No footsteps followed them. No wind rose. No shadow stretched toward them. Just two people returning to an apartment that suddenly felt empty. That night, they sat on the couch. No doll on the shelf. No notes on the table. No hallway figure. Donna felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Relief. They went to bed. The bedroom door stayed closed. No scratching. No slamming. No cold breath in the hallway. Donna slept. Deeply. Undisturbed. Morning came. Sunlight through curtains. Warm air. Ordinary sounds from outside. Donna stretched. Turned her head. And froze. Annabella sat on the bed, centered on the pillow. Upright. Smiling. Wrapped. No longer in cloth. Hands still stained. Donna did not scream. She simply stared. Because screaming would not change what she saw. Lou sat up beside her. He saw the doll. His breath left him slowly, like air from a punctured tire. They did not touch Annabella. They did not move her. They just sat on the edge of the bed, side by side, looking at something that should not be there. Later, when Father Perez returned, Donna opened the door without speaking. He stepped inside, stopped when he saw the doll. He closed his eyes for a moment, not in surprise. In understanding. It returned, he said. Lou's voice was hoarse. We threw it away. Father Perez nodded. I know. Donna whispered. What does that mean? Father Perez took a slow breath. It means the attachment is stronger than distance, he said. And what is attached does not obey ordinary rules. That night, the apartment felt watched again. Not by the doll. Not by the notes. By something behind the air. Something that didn't need to hide now. Donna noticed corners of rooms seemed darker than they should be. The space behind doors felt occupied. The hallway felt like a throat swallowing light. Lou began sleeping with the lights on again. But brightness did not help. Because watching does not require darkness. Father Perez said only one thing before leaving that night. Some things don't leave when asked. He did not offer comfort. He did not offer quick solutions. He simply spoke a truth that settled into Donna's mind like a stone sinking into water. Some things don't leave when asked. And now they knew. The doll was not the source. The doll was only the doorway. And the doorway was open. Soft silence. If you're still listening, don't shift suddenly. Don't clear your throat. Just notice the space around you, the empty parts of your room. The corners your eyes don't fully examine, because Donna and Lou had just learned something important. Removing an object is easy. Removing what came through it is another matter entirely. Room tone continues, and from here, the story moves toward the part that never made sense. The part no one involved could fully explain. The part that still has no ending. Father Perez didn't call the Warrens immediately. He waited 2 days, not because he doubted, but because once people like them came involved, a story stopped belonging to the people living it. It became a case, and cases never truly end. Ed and Lorraine Warren arrived on a Sunday afternoon. No dramatic entrance, no heavy equipment, no entourage, just a middle-aged couple carrying a worn leather case and a quiet seriousness that made the apartment feel smaller the moment they stepped inside. Lorraine didn't speak at first. She stood in the living room doorway. Her eyes rested on Annabella. The doll sat on the couch now, placed there by no one. Moved again during the night without sound. Lorraine inhaled slowly, then exhaled. This is older than the apartment, she said softly. Ed nodded once, as if he already knew. They sat at the kitchen table. Donna brought tea. No one drank it. Donna handed them the notebook, the notes, the timeline, the photographs of the scratches, the picture of the claw marks on the wall. Ed read carefully. Lorraine closed her eyes while he did. Finally, Ed spoke. This was never a child, he said. Not even a human spirit. Donna didn't ask what it was, because sometimes naming something gives it weight. Lorraine opened her eyes. It attached through invitation, she said. Once you gave consent. It no longer needed to pretend. Lou swallowed. Can it leave? Ed considered the question. It can be contained, he said. Not destroyed. Not reasoned with. Only contained. Donna glanced at the doll. Inside the doll, Ed nodded. It uses it as a focal point. Remove the focal point from human reach, and it loses access. That night, they prepared. Not with candles. Not with chanting. With deliberate quiet. Lorraine asked Donna and Lou to stay in the bedroom. Door closed. Lights on. No interruptions. Ed and Father Perez stood in the living room with the doll. Lorraine stood just behind them. Annabella sat on the couch. Small, soft, harmless to look at. Ed opened his book. He began to pray, not loudly, steady, controlled, words that felt like structure being built around something unseen. Father Perez joined in. 2 voices, different languages, same intention. Lorraine watched the air. Not the doll. The space around it. At first, nothing happened. Then the room shifted. Not in light, not in sound. In pressure. Like an altitude change inside the lungs. The apartment grew. Heavy. Still. Every background noise faded. Asterisk. No refrigerator hum. No building pipes. No distant traffic. Silence. Total. Absolute. The kind of silence that feels like a held breath. Donna noticed it from the bedroom. She whispered to Lou. Do you hear anything? Lou shook his head. Nothing. In the living room, Ed reached for the doll. The moment his fingers touched Annabella's cloth shoulder, the silence deepened. As it even thought was being muted. Lorraine's voice cut through it. Do not stop, she said quietly. Ed lifted the doll. And that was when the glass cracked. Not one window. All of them. Thin fractures spreading like frost. Patterns across every pane. No explosion. No shattering. Just cracks appearing simultaneously. In perfect silence. Father Perez's prayer grew firmer, not louder, stronger. Ed wrapped Annabella in a thick cloth, layer after layer. The moment the last layer covered the doll's face, sound returned. Suddenly. Abruptly. Refrigerator hum. Street noise. The building's heartbeat. Donna gasped in the bedroom. Lou exhaled sharply. Lorraine stepped back. Her face was pale now. That is why we contain, she said. No one asked questions then. Because the room felt washed in a different way, not from the hallway, not from corners, from inside the wrapped bundle in Ed's hands. They placed Annabella into a wooden box, plain, heavy, old. Ed closed the lid, locked it, then sealed it with wax. No dramatic flourish, just careful finality. When they carried the box out, the apartment felt suddenly hollow, not peaceful, just empty, like a theater after the audience has left. Lorraine turned to Donna before stepping through the door. It is not gone, she said. It is contained. Do not seek it. Do not speak of it often. Attention is still invitation. Donna nodded. Because by now, she understood. They left. The Warrens. Father Perez. The box. And for the first time in months, the apartment belonged only to Donna and Lou. No notes appeared. No shadows stood in the hallway. No doors opened. No scratches formed. Life slowly returned to ordinary shape, but something remained. Not in the apartment. In memory. Because sometimes, when Donna woke in the middle of the night, the room would feel perfectly silent again. No hum. No building noise. No outside world. And in that silence, she would remember the moment Ed touched the doll. When the world itself seemed to stop breathing. Soft pause. If you're listening now, notice the quiet around you. Not the story. Not my voice. The actual silence of your space. Because this is the question that never left Donna's mind. Why did the room go silent? The moment the doll was tucked. Head, room tone returns. Very low. And that is where this story no longer has clear answers. Only containment. Asterisk. Only caution. Only the knowledge that some doors, once opened, are never truly closed again. They did not see Annabella again for a long time. Not in the apartment. Not in dreams. Not in the corners of the eye. Life returned in slow, careful pieces. Donna finished nursing school. Lou changed jobs. They moved to a different home, different street, different walls. They spoke of the doll only once. Late one night, years later, Donna asked Lou if he remembered the silence. He nodded. They never spoke of it again, but the doll did not disappear. Because containment is not destruction. It is relocation. Ed and Lorraine Warren took Annabella to their home, to a room most visitors never saw, to a space built for objects that should not remain in human homes. The doll was placed inside a glass case, not decorative, not museum-like. Practical, thick glass, wooden frame, sealed seams, locks that required more than one key. A priest blessed the case. Another sealed it. A third warned that it should never be opened. No dramatic inscription, just a small handwritten sign taped to the front. Warning: do not open. People who visited the Warren home sometimes asked about it. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they leaned closer to the glass. Sometimes they joked that it was just a doll. Ed always gave the same answer. It is not the doll you should be afraid of, he would say. It is what learned to live through it. Behind the glass, Annabella sat. Cloth dress, red yarn hair, painted smile, small, harmless, still. But those who stood in front of the case for too long noticed something. Not movement, not sound. A sense of being observed. Not by the doll's painted eyes. By something behind them, like a presence standing, just out of sight. Waiting. Lorraine once described it quietly. It does not rage, she said. It waits. Waiting is its strength. Over the years, stories gathered around the glass case. A visitor who mocked the doll and later lost control of his motorcycle. A photographer whose camera failed only when aimed at the case. A priest who insisted the blessing be renewed yearly. None of these stories were confirmed. None were denied. Because confirmation gives weight, and weight invites curiosity. So the case remained. The room remained locked. The doll remained inside. Contained. Not cured. Not saved. Just held apart from the world. And yet, sometimes, when the Warrens were away, Lorraine would pause before leaving the room. She would look at the doll behind the glass and whisper, not to the doll but to the air around it, "You will stay where you are." Not as a plea. As a reminder. Because even sealed things must be told they are sealed. The years passed. The case remained. The warning stayed. And Annabella never moved again. Not on shelves. Not on couches. Not on beds. Only inside glass. Only inside. Blessing. Only inside distance. But there is one detail visitors sometimes mention, something small, easy to dismiss. They say that when the room is empty, when the house is quiet, when no one stands before the case, the glass sometimes fogs from the inside, just for a moment, then clears. No explanation. No source of breath. No warmth inside the case. Just a thin veil. Appearing. Disappearing. As if something inside still remembers how it once tried to speak. Soft silence. If you've ever seen her, you know she's still looking. Not at the room. Not at the visitors, but outward, toward the world that once invited her in, toward homes, toward shelves, toward open doors. Waiting. Because containment is not an ending. It is only a pause. Room tone continues. And this is where Donna's story ends. Not with triumph, not with closure. But with knowledge. Some things are not defeated, only kept at distance. And somewhere, behind glass, a small cloth doll sits smiling. Still. Patient. Watching. After Annabella was sealed inside the glass case, life moved forward. Not for the doll. Not for whatever lived behind it, but for everyone else. The Warren home became quiet again. Ordinary in the way a house with an extraordinary room can pretend to be. Visitors came and went, students, clergy, curious minds, skeptics, believers. Most never saw the case. Those who did were told very little. Just one rule. Do not touch the glass. Do not joke with what's inside. Do not ask it questions. Most nodded. Some smirked. And if you learned why the warning existed, there was a young man once, a visitor, confident, loud in the way people are when they think fear is a performance meant for others. He stood before the glass case, pointed at the doll. It's just a toy, he said. A rag doll in a box. Lorraine asked him gently to step away. He laughed. He leaned closer, tapped the glass lightly with one finger. Not hard, not enough to crack it, just enough to make a sound. A small, sharp sound in a quiet room. Lorraine said his name once. Calmly. He stepped back. Later that day, he left on his motorcycle. A short ride home, a familiar road. He never made it. The crash was blamed on speed. A turn taken too fast. A moment of lost control. No one claimed it was connected. No one proved it wasn't. The story traveled quietly through whispered conversations. Not as proof, as caution. Another time, a photographer visited. He asked to take a picture of the case. Ed said no. The photographer waited until no one was looking, raised his camera, aimed at the doll, pressed the shutter. The camera jammed, the film inside ruined, the lens fogged from within. No explanation. No repair shop ever found a fault. The photographer never asked again. A priest visited once every month. Not to perform an exorcism. Not to battle, just to bless the room. Soft prayers, holy water. A hand laid on the outside of the case, always the same words, always the same instruction to the air around it. You will remain contained. The doll never moved. Not once. No shifting, no turning, no repositioning. The yarn hair stayed the same. The painted smile never changed. The cloth hands remained still. And yet, every person who stood before the glass long enough described the same sensation. Not fear, not danger. Presence. As if the room behind them had become occupied. As if the air at their back had weight. As if someone was standing just out of sight, watching the watcher. No one ever saw it. No shadow, no figure, no shape. Just awareness. Ed once described it simply. The doll is quiet, he said. What's behind it is not. Lorraine refused to sleep in the room near the case, not out of fear, out of respect. You don't sleep beside a locked door you never want opened, she said. Years passed. The Warrens grew older. The world outside changed. New stories filled the news. New fears replaced old ones. But the glass case remained. The warning sign stayed taped to the front. The locks never rusted. And Annabella sat inside, still smiling, still small, still harmless to the eye. Donna heard about the case only once, from a newspaper article, a passing mention, a photograph of a glass box with a doll inside. She looked at it for a long time, not afraid anymore, just aware that what had entered her home had not been destroyed, only placed somewhere else. Contained. Not ended. Sometimes, late at night, when her own house was quiet, when the refrigerator hummed, when the walls settled, when the bedroom door stood closed, Donna would feel a moment of perfect silence. Total. Complete. And she would remember the night the room stopped breathing. She never told her children about the doll. Never bought dolls for the house. Never allowed handmade gifts shaped like people to sit on shelves. No explanation. Asterisk just instinct. Because some experiences do not fade. They only become quiet. And somewhere else, behind glass, a doll sits motionless. And something behind it waits, not raging, not calling, not moving. Waiting. For attention. For curiosity. For the next person who laughs at warnings. For the next home that welcomes something it does not understand. Soft silence. If you've listened this far, you already know, some stories end with closure, some end with victory, but some end with a door still locked, a light still on, a presence still inside. Contained. Waiting. And that is where Annabella remains. Behind glass, behind blessing, behind warning, still looking, still listening. Still here. You've been listening quietly for a long time now, not moving much, not speaking, just letting the story exist around you. That matters. Because silence is never empty. It is only unnoticed. Notice how still your room is. The furniture hasn't shifted. The walls haven't changed. The objects around you are exactly where you left them. And yet, after all this time listening, some of them feel more present than they did before. Notice the silence between sounds. The gap after a car passes outside. The pause after the refrigerator hum fades. The moment after your own breathing slows. That space. That quiet space. That's where attention lives. And attention is what started everything. Donna didn't invite fear. She didn't ask for danger. She only noticed a doll. She only paid attention. And something noticed back. Small pause. Annabella likes quiet rooms. Not loud ones. Not busy ones. Quiet rooms. Rooms where people are tired. Rooms where lights stay on at night. Rooms where doors are left slightly open. Rooms where someone lies still and listens. Just like you are now. Not because she moves. Not because she speaks. But because what learned to wear her shape still remembers how to wait. There's a detail that was never part of any official report. Not in police notes. Not in church records. Not in the Warren files. Just a detail shared once by Lorraine Warren to a student. Asterisk late at night. In a quiet kitchen. After tea had gone cold. She said sometimes. When the house was asleep. When Ed was already in bed. When no visitors remained, she would walk past the room with the glass case. And she would feel something. Not from the doll, from the hallway behind her. A presence keeping pace. One step behind, matching her speed. Never overtaking, never touching. Just accompanying. Until she reached her bedroom door, then it would stop. And the house would return to normal quiet. Lorraine never turned around when it happened. Not out of fear, out of wisdom. Because some things exist more strongly when witnessed. And she refused to give it that. Small pause. If you're still listening, you've done something similar. Asterisk you've sat quietly, you've listened, you've imagined spaces and shadows and silence. And imagination is powerful. Not because it creates monsters, but because it trains the mind to notice the corner of a room, the shape of a door, the outline of an object left in place. Asterisk and once you notice something, it never goes back to being invisible. Donna never forgot the doll. Lou never forgot the silence. Lorraine never forgot the presence. And now, asterisk for a little while, neither will you. Small pause. Look around your room again. Not quickly. Just slowly. Where would a doll sit? On a shelf, a chair, a bed, a table. Imagine it there.
Not moving, just present. And notice how your room feels with that idea inside it. That is how it began. Not with terror, not with violence, with a thought, with attention, with a quiet room, and a small figure that waited for someone to notice. Room tone, soft, continuous. We're almost at the end now, but not quite, because this story doesn't close with a door shutting. It closes with a door left closed, and the knowledge that behind one such door, somewhere in the world, a doll sits behind glass, still, sealed, contained, not destroyed, not healed, just separated, waiting, for time, for forgetting, for curiosity, for the next quiet room. Silence. 3 seconds. And in case you're wondering, no one ever opened the case again. Not once. Not for research. Not for proof. Not for courage. Because every person who truly understood the story agreed on one thing. Some things are not meant to be tested. Some doors are not meant to be tried. Some quiet should remain undisturbed. And Annabella remains where she is, behind glass, behind blessing, behind warning, still smiling, still small, still waiting. Some say the doll is safe now. They say the glass is thick, the locks are strong, the blessings hold, the warnings are clear. They say nothing has moved inside that case for years. No shifts, no turns, no changes. They say the danger is past. They say the story is over, but they also say it still waits. Not in the doll, behind it. In the space the glass cannot touch. In the air the blessing cannot fill. In the quiet that gathers when no one is watching. They say it learned patience long before it learned names. Long before it learned handwriting. Long before it learned how to pretend to be small. They say it does not need to escape, because it already knows something humans forget too easily. Everything sealed is eventually opened. Everything locked is eventually tested. Everything warned against is eventually touched by curiosity. They say it waits for that moment, not moving, not blinking, not calling out, just
like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.